Good morning and welcome back to Matchbook's Champions League betting podcasts. Matchday 3 is upon us. The gentlemen I have on board again today have been in terrific form through the first two match days of the Champions League. Last week, well, not last week, but Matchday 2, PSG and City under 3 was Jonathan's best bet. I would say it was comfortable. Maybe it wasn't comfortable, but it was still a winner, and another winner for Jonathan Wilson and Marco here. Under 3.5 double, Wolfsburg against AC Milan. Never really in doubt either. You put Wolfsburg into an under 3.5 double Marco here, and it just seems to win. All good in the hood. We've got a lot to cover today, guys. We're doing one Tuesday game, which we're going to kick off with Atlético against Liverpool. We're going to do 3 Tuesday or Wednesday games, even Manchester United against Atalanta, Ajax against Borussia Dortmund, Benfica against Bayern, and then the guys have a couple of other nifty smaller selections, but games that we don't want to cover too much in depth, and we'll do match day 3 best bets. And let's start, as we have it, first of all, with the main game on Tuesday night is Atlético against Liverpool. Let's take a look at the betting as we have it at matchbook.com. And Jonathan, I'll start with you first for this, but like I said, let's have a look at the betting. 3.4 you can back Atlético at the Wanda, Liverpool at 2.36, the draw available at 3.4, Atlético getting a quarter of a goal start on the Asian handicap at 1.92, and 2.25 is the total, and that's a kind of a middling total, obviously, for Atlético. Jonathan Wilson, you kind of think, though, look, Liverpool have been in terrific form, especially away from home. We see the amount of goals they're scoring left, right, and centre. Is the Wanda as kind of a big a cauldron or a hard enough place that they won't get a result here, or what way are you seeing this play out?
Well, I mean, they're obviously playing brilliantly at the minute, and you know, we've seen them batter Porto, we've seen them batter Watford. Salah is back in the form of his life, but I'm just slightly concerned by those games against City, against Chelsea, and even against Brentford, that when they get under pressure defensively, are they quite as good as they were the season before last? And I think probably they're not. Now, Atletico, I think, have been pretty unimpressive this season for all that they've only lost the one game. They're in that slightly weird position of not having played for 2.5 weeks now. So very hard to know whether there'll be some rustiness there. But every time I sort of talk myself into a position of thinking, Liverpool will win this quite comfortably, I remember saying exactly the same thing 2 years ago. And Atletico ended up winning both of those legs. Admittedly, the second one slightly fortuitously. So I still do think Liverpool will win, but I think Atletico can get at them, and that's why I've gone for both teams to score in this. Liverpool are that front three, whether it's Jota or whether it's Firmino in the middle, looks sensational, but at the back I'm not quite convinced by them, and I think Atletico have enough to hurt them, certainly from set plays.
Yeah, 1.83 you can back that, which is 5 to 6 in fractional terms. Marco here, you're taking a slightly more pro-Liverpool angle in this one.
Yeah, I am. Fascinating game this, as it normally is, because it's a complete clash of styles. Atleti have shifted systems and approach a few times over the past few seasons, but in the matches of real magnitude, they tend to go back to being the grinders, the spoilers, being difficult to beat, and containment and counter-attacking football. But they had a couple of injuries and issues coming into this match day. Jimenez came back from Uruguay duty with a knock. I believe he trained at the weekend, so should be available. Savage is probably going to be missing as well. So they've actually been training with Kondogbia as an emergency centre half, which is a concern. But we'll see what the team sheet is like when the game comes around. But yeah, Liverpool have been just immense recently. I'm not reading too much into smashing Watford 5-0. But their form on a longer scale has been superb, scoring twice or more in 10 of 11 games across all competitions, scoring 3 goals or more in the last 6 away games. It's something no English top flight team has ever managed at the start of the season. So, they're getting Alisson and Fabinho back into the fold. I thought they were a level above both Milan and Porto, 2 teams that Atleti had plenty of problems seeing off or getting results from in the first 2 matches. They were really, really dour against Porto, distinctly second best against Milan before the red card, and then the last minute penalty went in their favour. Both of them were pretty controversial decisions, you could say. Atleti haven't been the team I've seen over the past couple of seasons. I'm still looking for them to sort of move to their next level. So I thought I wanted Liverpool on side in some way or form, and I think the price is reasonable enough. So you just head into the Asian handicap market, and back Liverpool minus a quarter, pretty much even money there. So if the game does end in a draw, you're only losing half your stake, and you're getting paid out as evens if they do win in Madrid. I don't see Atleti winning this match.
Yeah, look, that's like you said, you cover yourself as small, but they're small bit of security at 1.99, just under evens. Liverpool minus a quarter goal, which will appear on site at minus 0.0/0.5. All right, Jonathan's selections, both teams to score there. And Mark, as we said, is Liverpool minus a quarter of a goal. Next game we're going to look at, Mark, Manchester United. Right, let's start again at this, because I'll be honest, we're not going to do this whole like we were right, you guys were wrong sometimes, because we do obviously get a bit of flack. Well, we're going to do that anyway. We get a fair bit of flack, Mark, about this whole anti-Manchester United thing. But yeah, there's a big couple of weeks coming up for this club in a massive way. They're 1.79 at home to Atalanta on Wednesday night. 4.6 you can back Gasparini's side. The draw available 4.1. Atalanta getting 3/4 a goal start on the Asian handicap at 1.94. 3 is the total. Mark, I don't know if you're liking one side more than the other in terms of a value bet here, but you have found a goals angle, or you do expect there to be a few goals. And it's not that I surprise you at the moment, because United don't look like they're keeping too many clean sheets.
No, they don't. Well, there's two. I wanted to be pro Atalanta and pro goals in this game, but yeah, I mean, what can you say about Saturday? It was an abomination, really. I couldn't believe their luck when they managed to get it back to 2-2 against Leicester, but to then switch off and allow that sort of Leicester to score again immediately after, schoolboy stuff, really. Maguire was supposed to be ruled out, then he played. I don't think he was fit considering his performance, and I'm being kind to him there. And there's big issues at the club, and I think anyone outside of Man United can see that they've needed a solid defensive midfield upgrade for quite some time. And at the moment, playing Ronaldo is leaving them a man less in terms of pressing and in terms of the defensive aspect as well. So for everything he's adding in forward areas in terms of his clinical nature, they're losing something at the back end as well. So yeah, it's a horror schedule coming up for them now, starting with Atalanta. The only thing that's kind of holding me back a little bit on Atalanta is they haven't got into their stride yet this season. Normally we see Gasparini's team sort of dominating the data, faring really strongly in Serie A. In terms of expected points, they're actually kind of mirroring their actual points tally so far. And if you look at the XG shot ratings, they're down year on year on what they've produced previously. And they haven't produced their best against the best teams in Italy so far this season either. I watched the game against Empoli at the weekend. Terrific going forward, as they normally are, but they left Empoli with plenty of opportunity in transitions and counter-attacks. Ilicic was fantastic, as he was in the international break for Slovenia as well, which is a real coup for Atalanta. But defensively and also injuries. Hateboer, Goossens, Pessina, Jim-City, they're all missing. I wasn't massively convinced with their performance against Young Boys or against Villarreal in the previous 2 rounds. But they do have that ability to hurt you from range with Malinovsky, but also from just the bustling nature of Saka and Muriel, whoever gets the nods. So expecting Atalanta to make their mark at Old Trafford. But I looked at the Asian handicap line. So Villarreal were 1.25 underdogs on the Asian handicap. Everton were that line as well. So Atalanta are 3/4. So either the market is losing faith in United rapidly, or they're rating Atalanta much higher than the other two teams. And I probably would favour somewhere between the middle. So I wanted Atalanta +1 on the Asian handicap. It just gives you that bit more security. But I wouldn't put anyone off sort of opposing or laying United at the odds. But I've ended up just going for the goals route, because it kind of takes out the stress of sort of supporting either team. And Atalanta have kept just 2 clean sheets all season. United have kept just 1. Both teams have scored in 7 of Atalanta's 10, in 8 of United's 10, League and Champions League. Then both teams have seen at least 3 goals in 6 of 10 or 7 of 10. I expect both teams to score. I expect over 2.5 goals to land as well. So I'm expecting goals. And just as well, just the price was slightly better than backing Atalanta +1 on the Asian handicap line.
Yeah, over 3 goals currently available, 1.83 a matchbook. Jonathan, Mark couldn't quite get there with Atalanta +3/4 a goal, but I think you can. And you were obviously at the KP on Saturday. Is this kind of angle, is this more of a kind of like looking to oppose United because of the way United are, or is there a bit more from you can see that Atalanta will bring to the table?
It's a bit of both. And specifically, I think the way Leicester played with the back 3 was the first time they played a back 3 in the league this season. And that really hurt United. So the wing-backs drove back. I mean, Luke Shaw particularly, Wan-Bissaka doesn't get forward that much, but Luke Shaw was a complete non-entity as an attacking force on Saturday. So similar shape to how Atalanta play, but not just with the wing-backs, with the 2 centre-forwards, with Vardy and Iheanacho working the channels between the full-backs and the centre-backs. And that caused United all kinds of bother. I mean, really from the first minute, and they never put that right. Also, Maddison sort of sitting on Matic sort of having a player in that area where we know United are particularly weak at the back of the United midfield. And again, I think Atalanta are well set up to do a similar thing. So whether they play Muriel or Zapata or Malinovsky, whichever two of those three, you can see them working those channels between. I mean, I completely agree. I think Maguire wasn't fit on Saturday. I think it's probably unfair to expect him to play. And that first goal particularly, I think the fact he couldn't sort of, when he realised the pass from Taylor was short, the fact he couldn't push off, I think you saw there. So I think that's an issue where United have problems. And then whoever they play at the back of midfield, even if they do play two in there, and then you have all the issues of where do you fit Pogba in. And again, it's which of the players will Atalanta play there, whether it's Ilicic, who has been in good form recently but wasn't playing early in the season, whether Miranchuk or Pasalic gets the call there. They have players to play that number 10 role, as Maddison did. So I think there are structural similarities between Atalanta and Leicester, even the way they press. And Leicester pressed really well on Saturday. I think the best they pressed this season. That Atalanta can repeat that. So. And also, United is making mistakes. You can see the confidence has started to disappear from them. And you can see Ronaldo's getting more and more frustrated. They've started letting in goals from set plays as well. 2 on Saturday, that's 4 now they've let in the league from set plays this season. I think there's problems all over the place. So, I especially with 3/4 of a goal start, I like the look of Atalanta here.
Your own opinion on this, and I'm just curious from my own side of things. Does Ole make it to Christmas?
He might do, because I don't see any sort of leadership or direction there. And I think with Ed Woodward leaving, I think that's created the sort of vacuum. I think there's this sort of policy of nostalgia there, which bringing back Ronaldo fitted. That they realise that's an easy way of sort of damping down crowd unrest, which is not just to do with the team, it's also to do with the ownership, which we saw at the end of last season. So, he's already the longest-serving United manager not to win the trophy since Dave Sexton. I know Fergie did take longer to win his first one. Yeah. So maybe that's a slightly unfair comparison. But I think if he was anybody other than Ollie, he'd have been well gone by already.
Yeah, I saw that argument at the weekend as well, but you have to remember that Ferguson obviously came from Aberdeen, where they were winning European Cups against Real Madrid, albeit Cup Winners' Cup, whatever else it was. All right, Atalanta plus 3/4 a goal. With that, of course, it comes up Piers on site at plus 0.5/1, 1.0, and if United win by one solitary goal, you only lose 50% of your bet, so not a bad angle and to cover yourself. Next game. And I'll start with you, Jonathan, because this is your game of choice, which is Ajax and Borussia Dortmund. I think a lot of people are going to think that this is going to be a free-flowing game, but you think it may not be. Ajax 2.34, Borussia Dortmund 3.0, the draw available 4.1, and Borussia Dortmund getting 1/4 of a goal start to 1.89, 3.25 is the total size shade toward the under. I already did it. I already did my segue, Jonathan, so you're expecting a slightly defensive game here.
Yeah, I think that's why I chose that. I just sort of think that Borussia Dortmund aren't quite as attacking as they may seem. That they're obviously in good form at the minute. They've won 7 of the last 8, but of those 7, 6 have been by a single goal. And if you look at their performances in Europe, they haven't been as on the front foot as they can be in the Bundesliga. I think that's partly to do with the nature of the Bundesliga. It's such a league based on high pressing. There's often space for Dortmund's quick forwards to run into behind. But beating Besiktas 2-1, beating Sporting only 1-0, a Sporting who we'd seen being battered in the previous game week. I think they're a little bit cannier, a little bit more cautious than people think. So I think there is value in backing under 3 goals. Ajax, as you'd expect, leading the Dutch league, but they had a bit of a wobble beginning of the month. So I'm not fully convinced they're right at their best either at the moment. So they lost to. It was the game before last in the league, wasn't it? They lost to Utrecht. There's sort of a sense that I just sort of think the price is slightly too long and people are over-anticipating the goals here, and therefore there's probably value in backing under 3.
Yeah, it's currently available 2.18 on site. Mark, what of Dortmund? I mean, look, they've won 7 of their last 8. Marco Rose has come in this season from Mönchengladbach. He seems to be getting a better tune out than Lucien Favre was getting this time last year.
Yeah, I think Dortmund are slightly underrated here. If you look at the match odds, it suggests that these two teams are, if you take home advantage out of the equation, these two teams are pretty much rated as equals, and I'm not sure that is
Yep.
necessarily the case. I think if Ajax were plying their trade in the Bundesliga, I'm not sure they would be the second best team in front of Dortmund. So I think any team with Erling Haaland in has to be taken very seriously. And I think his quality, the fact he come back at the weekend and scored and played pretty well against Mainz, gives Dortmund a massive feather in the cap. The system has been working pretty well. Some people are interpreting it as a diamond midfield, others as a 4-3-3, as Dortmund tend to play. But it's been performing pretty well. Marco Reus has been playing superbly well, and I just think player for player, you look at the two teams. I'd rather have Dortmund's 11 at the moment. Akanji's playing very well defensively. Bellingham's been superb week on week, and Ajax I just think are being slightly overrated, as I think they have been throughout this competition so far. I know they did put Sporting or shredded Sporting in Portugal, but Sporting almost kind of gave them that game in the first half hour with some of the goals they gave away, beating Besiktas. Well, most teams in this group should be doing that reasonably comfortably too. So I think this is a step up in terms of quality, and I think Dortmund are capable of at least getting a point from this match. So getting Dortmund plus a quarter on side at sort of 1.9, I think appeals.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of people are going to be enamored with that Ajax win in Portugal last day, and that Sebastian Haller masterclass. But there was a lot of holes, and that goalkeeper again having nightmares about that one. All right, let's mark your game of choice. You're keeping with the German theme here, and it is Bayern Munich's trip to Portugal against Benfica. 7.8. You can back the home team here. FC Bayern at 1.42. The draw available 5.2. Benfica getting a 1.25 goal start at odds against 2.04. 3.25 is the total, slightly shaded towards the under. Mark O'Hare, Bayern at the weekend. I know a lot of people probably did try to build up Leverkusen beforehand, but 5 goals in the first 37 minutes tells his own story where this team is, and this transition from Flick to Nagelsmann, it's going pretty well.
It is. It's not good for the Bundesliga when Bayern are beating or 5-0 up against Leverkusen at half-time. But that's what Bayern do. They're so clinical. They're so keen to just rack up the goals and just put teams to the sword, really. And they're rated by UEFA as pretty much the best team in Europe over the last 4 years based on their Champions League performances. And I did a little bit of digging just to see how good they already have been. But since October 2017 in the Champions League, across all games in the competition, 32 wins, 6 draws, just 3 defeats. Away from home in that same sample, if you take out the neutral venue games, 16 wins, 4 draws, 0 defeats. The draws came at Ajax, Real Madrid, Liverpool and Atletico. It's outrageous, really, and I think that 4-year kind of sample is fine because the team and squad has remained pretty consistent, even if the coaches have changed. So, their record in the group phase as well during that sample, 22 wins, 3 draws, the 1 defeat. The loss came at PSG in 2017. The 2 draws came against that amazing Ajax team in 2018-19. And the draw also came at Atletico last season when they'd already qualified and they played the reserves in Madrid. So you look at their performances already, smashing Barca, smashing Dynamo Kiev. I can only see them winning this game and winning it quite comfortably. I know Benfica beat Barca 3-0 in the last match day, but I watched that match and it could have gone very differently over the first 30, 45 minutes because Barca had opportunities to score, at least 2 or 3 themselves, fluffed those opportunities and then pretty much shot themselves in the foot with some of their defending. But also, Koeman took off took off Piqué. He was on a yellow card, looked like he was going to get sent off, took him off and put De Jong back at centre half, and they just crumbled after half time. It was very much a game of 2 halves. The XG at half time was 0.14 to Benfica, 1.14 to Barcelona. But there's obviously the second half went all one-way traffic. So I'm expecting Bayern to start strongly. I did my notes before the Leverkusen game. They started very strongly at the weekend. They've scored before half-time in all but 1 game so far this season. And I do think if they score before half-time, they win this game pretty comfortably. So Bayern half-time, full-time was the angle at 2.1 odds against. It's a nice increase on the, 1.4 on the away win. I did look at the Asian handicap angle as well, but I've been greedy and gone for the bigger price.
Yeah, Bayern to win the first half and to win the game. It's covered 5 of the last 6 Champions League games. Jonathan, any agreement here on Bayern one-way traffic?
Yeah, I mean, it's... I was listening to that thinking, this is exactly what I was about to say. So, I think, Benfica away at Dynamo Kiev, that on match day 1, I thought we're pretty fortunate to get away with that. And that 3-0 against I mean, beating Barca 3-0 was really about Barca losing 3-0, but also it was not a 3-0 game. So I'm not convinced by them. And I think Bayern, after that defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt, there has been just that little reset, and they're back focused, and that 4 goals in 7 minutes on Sunday was Bayern at their absolute best. So I can't see anything other than a comfortable Bayern win here.
Yeah, it's that. Would you be in agreement on that, the double result angle, Jonathan, or are you kind of more keen to play the Bayern Munich -1.25?
I put Bayern Munich -1.25 just to say something different, but I'm happy with both of them. I suspect both would come in. So
you're allowed to.
The longer price makes more sense. I accept that.
All right, Joe. Let's do a quick recap. So Bayern double result is the selection there. Atletico Liverpool. Mark has taken Liverpool -0.25, 1.99. Both teams to score for Jonathan at 1.83. The next game we covered is at Atalanta versus Manchester United. Over 3 goals is selection for Mark. Jonathan likes Atalanta plus 3/4 a goal on the Asian handicap. Ajax Dortmund. Dortmund is the play for Mark at plus 1/4. 1.9. Jonathan likes under 3 goals. Odds against are 2.2. And Bayern double result. We rattled through a lot there. Check out insights.matchbook.com for a full recap of those selections from Monday afternoon, about 2 or 3 o'clock onwards, just so you can kind of get a sense. Other bets that we're not going to cover in more detail, but Marco here, kick us off first of all in Paris. You opposed Leipzig at the weekend on the Asian handicap at home to Freiburg, away at Freiburg. That came in. And it's a profitable one for this podcast this season so far. Just oppose Leipzig most weeks.
Yeah, I mean they're still struggling to find their best foot in both boxes. Really, they were second best against Freiburg on Saturday. Drew that game 1-1. It means they've only won twice in their last 9 games across all competitions. Their only away win so far this season came at Sandhausen in the Pokal. It's 1 clean sheet in 11 Champions League games now, straddling back to last season, and they've conceded twice or more in the last 6 Champions League games as well. They obviously played away at PSG and played pretty well, despite losing last season under Nagelsmann. PSG were 1.67 that day. That was without fans and without Messi. Obviously, they've strengthened their squad since then. They now have fans behind them. And you look at the team or the players who can come back into the team from Friday night: Neymar, Messi, Marquinhos. Crucially as well, I think that midfield is finding that right balance when Verratti's there. I think he was pretty important and inspirational to the victory against Man City on Matchday 2, where, some people will say they probably didn't deserve to win that game, but they got the points. And this tends to be PSG's spotlight, really, playing in front of the crowd in Paris in the Champions League. The Liga, and they're just going through the motions most weeks. We saw that on Friday night against Angers. I expect PSG to put their foot down here and win the game with room to spare. So the Asian handicap angle appealed to me at -1. You get cash back if PSG win by exactly 1 goal. Leipzig have conceded 10 goals against Bayern Munich and Manchester City this season. Bruges turned them over in Matchday 2, winning the XG count as well. And that was despite Leipzig trailing at half-time in that game. You'd expect them to sort of be playing front foot football and really putting the pressure on. They didn't really. And PSG's home record in the group phase since 2017, 11 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat in that sample. They've beaten City, beaten Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, and I'd say their squad is probably stronger than any of those occasions too.
Yeah, I like this. Now, I don't think we'd be turning anyone off thinking PSG -1.5, but for the benefits of this podcast, PSG -1 currently available 1.73 at matchbook.com. Jonathan, a big week in Catalonia off the field, obviously, with the board meetings that are going on. A 3-1 win against Valencia, but it probably doesn't cure all the ills of Barcelona. You're backing Kiev, Dynamo Kiev, +1.5 at 2.18.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Dynamo needs to get something out of this game, having failed to beat Benfica while playing very well the first week. Got battered away at Bayern. I mean, they're totally dominant in Ukraine at the minute. Won 4-1 against Lviv at the weekend. For what that's worth, in terms of build up to this game. I mean, I suspect at least half our team won't be there at the Camp Nou. But Barcelona are clearly vulnerable at the minute. I think Dynamo, I think they occasionally have a psychological issue going to big clubs. And I think that you saw that against Bayern, but they do have those memories of beating Barcelona back in the 90s, which they always talk about. Whether that means anything, I don't know. Basically, I'm saying I don't think Barcelona are very good. I think this Dynamo are pretty good, and therefore, if you can get them better than evens with a 1.5 goal start, that's not a bad place to be.
Oh, some good memories there. Shevchenko and Rebrov running, doing riots in the new camp. There were some good games there. Mark, Max Allegri is back. You can see it. 3-1-0 wins on the bounce for Juventus. Our boy Chiesa. By the way, on Chiesa, we were on Chiesa 2 or 3 years ago. This isn't just something we got in the Euros. That was a great goal against Chelsea. You liked them here away at Zenit, minus quarter of a goal at 1.83.
Yeah, I'm just starting to get on side with Juventus now under Allegri. I think for the last sort of 2 years, they've dilly-dallied with trying to change their style and approach with Sarri and Pirlo. And they've kind of gone away from the Juventus ideals of old, really, which for me are, just win at all costs. I think that's Juventus in a nutshell over the past 20, 30 years since I've been following Italian football. And I think we saw that on Sunday night in Spades, really, against Roma. They took the lead, just grind, battle, worked hard, did everything they needed to do to get the 3 points, because that is ultimately all that matters to Juventus, is winning matches. And they've started to do that, and I think they've started to look a bit more comfortable under Allegri. Morata was on the bench at the weekend, which is good. I think Dybala is still missing, but Rabiot might come back into the fold as well after illness. So the squad-wise, they're looking a lot stronger than they did against Chelsea on Matchday 2. And yeah, I expect them to at least get something in Zenit, because there used to be, for me, I used to have a kind of mental block about opposing or sort of getting with teams away in Russia or Ukraine in the early Champions League stages, particularly when we get into winter. But more so recently, I've just seen those, particularly the Russian Premier League, sort of just dwindle in quality in terms of their ability to sort of match big teams in the Champions League. They've won once in 20 group stage games since the start of last season, and that was beating Malmo. Zenit beating Malmo last time out. If you look at UEFA's coefficient rankings, Russian football has fallen below Austria. They're now 9th on the list, and Scottish Premiership is very much hot on their heels. There's a very strong and realistic possibility that this season the Scottish Premiership will overtake the Russian Premier League in terms of UEFA's coefficients, which is, quite an embarrassing state of where they've fallen from, really. And I look at Zenit, they've lost back-to-back games in the Russian Premier League, which is almost unheard of. They've kept just 1 clean sheet all season. You look at expected points domestically, they're ranking 3rd, collecting 5 more points than their actual points tally have suggested they should have. And they've lost 9 of the last 12 Champions League games. And last season, they picked up 1 point at home, with their opponents being Bruges, Lazio and Dortmund. So I think Juve are probably a level above that. And I think if you can take Juve minus a quarter on the Asian handicap, around 1.8 or above, I think you're in a decent position, really, because you're only losing half your stake if the game ends all square, and you're getting paid out for a winner if they win.
Yeah, small more security there, and Juve come back at 2.2 on the main match odds if you want to go that way. Jonathan, to wrap us up here, Young Boys versus Villarreal. You like Young Boys plus a quarter of a goal at odds against at 2.02.
Yeah, I can't quite fathom how Villarreal are favourites for this game. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. That they lost 2-1 to Osasuna at the weekend. Young Boys, I think, I know they had the iffy start of the season, but they've been really in form the last couple of months. Okay, they dropped points against Lucerne, but I think understandable when you have a big Champions League game coming up. Maybe you are slightly distracted. I thought they were. I mean, I guess both sides were good against Manchester United, and Villarreal were very unfortunate to lose. But that stadium in Bern. The Wankdorf is it is a very really vibrant place. The atmosphere can be great there. So the fact you can get better than evens with a bit of a start, that seems to me remarkable value. So very happy to back Young Boys here.
Yeah, and you were on Young Boys, both teams to score against United in the first game, which was a terrific show. They obviously went on and won that game. Before I get to best bets, guys, if you're watching us today on YouTube, please click the thumbs up button and click the subscribe button. And if you're listening to us for a podcast app, please do leave us a preferential review if you're enjoying the content. Best bet of all those, Jonathan, what is it?
I think it's Young Boys. I think to get that better than evens, plus 0.25. That seems to me remarkably good value. So I'm more than happy with that.
Yeah, you can back them at 3.4 as well in the match odds, but you're obviously hanging around with Mark O'Hare some these days, so you're taking the Asian handicap. I like it, but more security. Mark O'Hare, what's your best bet?
Yeah, I'm going to go with PSG. I think PSG -1 on the Asian handicap, and it's just knowing we get our cash back if they win by exactly 1 goal. It's quite a pragmatic approach, I know, but it works for me, and I think they had the capacity to win that game quite comfortably. Leipzig are defending pretty poorly at the moment. things aren't really working for them. They have to be proactive in their approach, considering the lay of the land in that pool as well, which should really open up spaces for PSG to exploit in the transitions as well. So I like PSG to win, and I think they will win quite comfortably.
Yeah, happy to pose Leipzig this week and every week this season. It's making us money. All right, my thanks to Jonathan, my thanks to Mark. Great fun as ever, guys. We got it done just under the half an hour time. Very quick and efficient. We'll be back in a couple of weeks' time for Match Day 4. Until then, the best of luck with your Match Day 3 bets, and bye for now.